Hi, my name is Anthony Edwards, and I just wanted to show you there are lots of ways to demonstrate art. Used to be a time many years ago that you had to paint a painting in order to render it as such. But in today's technology, you can simulate a painting in a way by using the technology of a computer. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. Now, if you can see this image, it's a 1945 class of Tuskegee Airmen in Tuskegee, Alabama. And so I have on my computer that image, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to let it be black and white, but what I'm going to do is to give some color to the faces. And one of the things you'll be able to see here is that I'm going to let's see if I can do this right. You can see how large it gets. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start out with this guy here. Now I've kind of selected, you can see over here, a palette that I like of color that I'm going to use throughout this to give every person that you see in black and white a color to make them look as if their faces are in color. So now that I've decided to do that, then I've selected the color. What I'm going to do, I'm going to enlarge, and I'm going to move some things around here. I'm going to start with this fella right here. I don't know if you can see him. He's probably, it looks like he's the squadron leader. I'm going to move it over some more. Let's see here. Move this down here. So you can see him right here. There he is right here. So I'm going to expand it just a little bit more. I'm going to move this over like this. I'm going to lift it up here so you can see his face pretty well. Now I've selected a brown tone, so if you can see this, what I'm doing here, I'm giving him a tonation, and I'm using a fairly large circumference in order to do that. So now that I've done just about that much of it, what I'm going to do, I'm going to make the brush much smaller so I can get into some of the detail up in here, just like that. So as you can see how now he's beginning to look like he's in color. It's a real tedious process. Now I'll go down in here. Although this is more of a shadow of his skin. So you can see how he's turning brown there. I'm going to make the brush a little bit smaller so that I can get real close right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scale it back to its normal size, and all of a sudden you can see he has that coloration. Now I'm going to go down to one of the ones in the bottom, because I think this is really important, how to really get the authenticity down. Now this fellow right here, you can see that you probably can't see, but his socks are rolled down. So I'm going to make him bigger, and so you can see right here how his socks are rolled down. Well, you want to make that to look as much in color too. So I'm going to make the size just a little larger. And interesting enough, this color pretty much simulates the pigment of the person. So I can leave it at the same color tone. Okay, I can see now what I need to do is make the brush a little smaller. Just a little bit smaller here. Okay, about right there. There's a little shadow here. Right there. Come down here. Catch that edge of his foot line. It takes a lot of practice too, because one thing for sure, I can tell right away, like I said, his sock is rolled up. So I'm going to have to come as close. Now on this leg, this is a part of the sock here. But up here, apparently his sock must have been rolled down a bit. So I know that I can come around just like this. Go up here, come around, and continue to simulate that leg, because the pants are up. And behind this leg right here, that sock is kind of hanging down. So if you're going to do things like this, you want to try to be as precise as possible. So I'm going to come here just like this. I'm going to go right here. Okay. Now I'm going to make that brush a little larger. That's a little bit too big. It's about good right there. And I'm going to go ahead and continue to make all this brown in here. And of course, being African American, we realize that in terms of skin coloration, everybody's skin color, nobody has the same skin pigmentation. But this tool allows for the separation. Now that you can see where I've gotten the legs, I'll just make it look smaller. And now you can see how in context with his skin, with the uniform on, that his legs are in color. Now we also see that he has hands here. So what we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and make his hands in color. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing. I'm just going to do as much, and then we'll break and I'll show you the finished product in just a little bit. But just want to show you the process that I used to do this. Now you, like I said, you want to use a smaller piece, utensil type, for the very close parts here. And then use the larger size. And you notice he has a watch on. That's going to be really important. You don't want to paint the watch. You want the watch to be in black and white so that you get the contrast that you're looking for. So you painstakingly paint around it. And of course, you come down here, there's a watch band, comes through here, there's that. That's the other part of the arm, the hand rather. I'll come down here just like this. Trying to do it pretty quickly so as to not to take a whole lot of time. but I want it to be right. And I've been doing this a long time with a lot of my art. I didn't start art this way. I started the conventional way, and I still paint using a brush. But sometimes I'll find something that piques my interest, and I'll do something a little different. And that's what I've done here. So, once you start to begin to do this, it starts to come alive. And like I said, you'll use the smaller part of it, just doing the corners, like I'm doing right here. It does take a lot of practice, I will tell you that. Okay, now that and then I'm going to make it just a little bit smaller in size by clicking it up here, because I want to, this is also part of the skin right here. Just like that. Now you can see how the watch doesn't look like it's in color at all, and it's not. It's plain black and white. Alright, now that I've pretty much outlined it, then I can afford to go to a larger size here. I'm going to try her here. And then I can just do it like that. All of a sudden you can see his hand. I can blend it in here since I did those corners. Just like that. Come up here and kind of close it out. Alright, and come down here. Okay, so then I'll make it smaller, and you can see how the hands are in color. Now, this is the last part on this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do his face real quick. So I'll kind of guesstimate. I know that I need to raise it up. There's his face right there. Whoop. There he is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and paint the large surface pretty quick. And I'll use a smaller brush to get to the small detail. But as you can see, it appears that it was a color photograph. And of course the technology in 1945 wasn't like that at all. So I'm going from the 21st century technology and actually updating it and giving it a different kind of presence. So I know that that's part of this neckline up to about there. Okay, now that I've gotten that part, then I'm going to have to make it smaller again there so I can get real close. Shadow here is part of his uniform. Don't want to get that. And then that's part of the neck right here. There's a zipper lining. It's part of the neck here. Go back up here. Okay, so I kind of smeared it a little bit. All you do is just keep going because you can clean that up in just a second. Okay. So I think I've got his face pretty good here. And now for the areas that are outside the boundaries of the color that I've created, what I'm going to do now is click right here, go to white, and say OK, and just clear that smudge off that I did. Okay, and once I did that, then I make it smaller, and all of a sudden you can see he's in color. I'm going to do one more real quick. Okay, this guy right here, if you can see him, I'm going to blow him up. I'm going to move it around. This guy right here. So I'm going to start out with the brush size just a little bit bigger, about 42. So I'm going to go ahead and paint him. Now the finished product, my plan is I'm going to make it 3 foot by 4 foot, no, 3 foot by 5, and I'm going to put it on a canvas. And it's going to look just like a picture. And it's going to look just like it's painted. Okay. This is about as much as I can do with this size. So I'm going to make it smaller. Actually make it a little bit smaller than that. About right there. Very gingerly. Do that. Now, I've been doing this for many years, so I might suggest to you I've probably gotten pretty good at that. I've gotten pretty good at it. Takes a little time to get that steady hand to be able to work around it. But you can see how he's turning and how that skin tone matches up real well. I'll go over here in the corner. Okay, I got a little bit on his uniform, but I'll wait until I finish because that's a very important part, because you don't want to mix the texture and get it wrong. Okay, I'm going to make it a little larger here. You can see it, and if you look right here, you see where there's a kind of a smudge. So what I'm going to do is go here and go to the white part right here and just clean that off. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to make it smaller. All of a sudden now he's in color. So I'm going to make it smaller. So that's how it would look. This guy in color, this guy hands, face in color, and so it's. And I've chosen at least 3 people on this shot that have distinct different pigments. The brother here who's darker, the brother here who's lighter, and the one in between. But I've used the same transparency in color that fits them all and makes it work really nice. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to call it Tuskegee Airmen 3C. And as opposed to a Photoshop file, I'm going to save it as a JPEG in my Tuskegee Airmen file. So it's Tuskegee Airmen 3C. Okay, this is the finished product. Took me a couple weeks. I had to take it to a photographer to enlarge the original JPEG image to be, I think it's about 4 by 6 or 4 by 5. But anyway, it's on canvas, and as I said before, I did a rendering in Photoshop that allowed it to look like a painting. So you can see that all the men are in regular tonation, but the backdrop is in black and white. And so I thought that was pretty cool. So anyway, I just put it up yesterday. Let me see if I can bring this camera a little closer so you can get kind of like a little close up here. But as you can see, as I kind of scan through this, that every one of the persons, when you get real close to it, they do in fact really look like a painting, and they do in fact really come alive. I have to tell you this interesting story. When I took it to have it developed, this particular image right here, the guy at the Photoshop's place, photo store, said, "Hey man, that looks like Denzel Washington." I said, "No, maybe a grandfather to Denzel, but certainly not Denzel Washington." But anyway, I'm really satisfied with it. I think it really came out very, very nice. So there are so many different ways and different avenues to express your art and or your artistry. So that's really, really important to do that. I don't know if you can see, this is my new T-shirt that I created, and it says Native Son. I'm really proud to be from San Antonio, Texas, and so it says Native Son, and I'm especially proud to be from Denver Heights. So this is my Native Son shirt.
Will draw blood against the seemingly invulnerable ME-262. March 24, 1945. The drone of aircraft engines echoes through the skies of central Germany. A bomber train of 200 B-17 Flying Fortresses descend on Germany, targeting a tank assembly plant in Berlin. Mustangs of the 332nd Fighter Group fly escort. Just outside Berlin, the Red Tails are scheduled to be relieved by another unit, the 31st Fighter Group. Risk a frontal assault. They'll break up in small groups and attack along the length of the bomber train. A flight of 4 streaks in, lobbing cannon shells at long range before any of the Mustangs can engage. Germans break away. 1-262 gets careless. He flies right in front of P-51 pilot Lieutenant Earl Lane. Lane reacts instinctively, breaking away to pursue the enemy jet. At a range of 2,000 feet, he opens fire. Rounds slam into the enemy jet, wounding the pilot. The German pilot pulls his clipped warbird skyward and launches himself from the canopy.